Hello everybody, welcome to Module 2 recap in this gorgeous weather here in Tampa, Florida. Okay, in Module 1 what I did was I introduced you several important fluid mechanics parameters and concepts that I'm going to use throughout this modules, right? In Module 2 now what I'm doing is I'm starting the fluid statics, okay? And these are very similar to how you take the statics course in the mechanical engineering curriculum, right? We look at things that move with constant speed or doesn't move at all, right? And after module 2 and 3, that is for the statics, I will go to the kinematics and dynamics, etc. So in this particular module, what I did was I picked the sea level, and at first I picked a particular point immersed under the water, right? And then what I did is I looked at the stress tensor on that particular point. Okay, and I showed that it will be a 3x3 matrix. Okay, and for two conditions, one is if the flow is in visit, and the second condition is if the flow is static, right? That's exactly what I'm covering in this particular module. What happens is 6 out of those 9 components of this matrix goes to 0. Basically all the shear stresses that I have vanishes, right? And the second thing that I do, I use the Pascal's law and I show you that the primary stresses will be equal to minus P. So if I look at these matrix, what I will get is minus P, 0, 0, 0, minus P, 0, 0, 0, minus P. And I want to look at this minus sign and I highlighted to you that in solid mechanics, we take the compressive stress as negative, but in fluid mechanics, we do it in a positive way because the pressure pushes it in always, all right? So that's why we have a negative sign in front of that. And then what I did was I looked at the force balance on a particular free body diagram I take for the small particle immersed underneath water. And what I did was I analyzed and I got three formulas. The first two formulas are this. It says that del P del X is towards me and you, Y is in this direction, and Z is pointing up, okay? In the X and Y direction, the pressure doesn't change. This is not too surprising, we kind of know that already, right? But also we established that del P del Z is minus specific weight, right? So what that means is this, actually Z is pointing up, there's a negative in front of it, so that means is when I go down, the pressure increases, and the pressure decreases when I go up. And I analyze this pressure change for two cases. One case is I pick this as incompressible, and the formula, especially in the gauge pressure terminology, turns out to be very simplistic, okay? So I go down, rho gz increase, I go up, rho gz decrease the pressure value. For instance, if I go to 1 meter down, I'm gonna get myself rho times g times 1. That's how much the pressure increases, right? Fairly straightforward. But also I did the compressible one, okay? So you should watch the video on that one. It's a little bit more complicated how we will be able to analyze an ideal gas, okay? The formula gets a little bit more complicated with natural logarithms in it. And then what I did was I used these fundamentals and I applied this to something called manometry. It's called the more common one and the more complicated one is the U-shaped manometer, okay? And I analyzed that for you, so you may want to watch that video as well. The only thing I used in the manometer concept is as I go up, I decrease the pressure by rho gh. As I go down, I increase it by rho gh or z, however you want to call it, okay? And when I am in a U-shaped tube, as long as these two columns are connected by the same fluid, and as long as the heights are the same, the pressures will be the same from the logic that we talked about, because the pressure doesn't change in this direction or in that direction, only changes in this or that direction, right? And you may want to watch the videos on the manometer examples. I went through a very, comprehensive example for you. Also, one thing about the manometers is if I have both the gas and liquid in my U-tube shaped manometers, what I do is I simply go ahead and neglect the effect of pressure change within that gas, okay? Because if you think about rho g, right, that term, especially the rho, the density, right? the density of gases are so small compared to the liquids that it's simply not going to make any difference. If you go out and use the pressure difference within the gas, that's not going to be incorrect, but you don't really need it. Okay, the final result will be pretty much the same. All right, so this pretty much wraps up the module 2.